Hey y'all, this is Lori. We are at RustWeek and I am with the Rust content team. And we are just interviewing speakers and notables and really cool people that we've met in the project. And today I have with me Predrag.
Hi, everyone.
So why don't you give us a little bit of background about who you are, what you do, and what you do with the project?
I'm probably most well known for working on cargo-semver-checks, the semantic versioning linter for Rust. I've been working on it since mid-2022, so it's been a while now, and I'm very excited to continue working on it. I have some fun news to share.
So what does cargo-semver-checks do?
The idea behind cargo-semver-checks is to make cargo update fearless. Having the latest dependencies is a really good idea. We get free performance upgrades, we get new functionality, we get security patches, which are ever more important in today's world. But the problem with cargo update is that every so often it just doesn't work. It leaves your project in a broken state. Some dependency upgrades, some unintentional breaking change has snuck in, and now your project doesn't compile, and now this is your problem. That is a regrettable, unfortunate fact of reality, but that is something that we can solve. It turns out that when these breaking changes happen, the maintainers generally did not make an explicit decision to break something, and instead something just kind of snuck in, nobody noticed, and then it was out there in the world before we could stop it. The point of cargo-semver-checks is to add an extra step, kind of like how we use Clippy to lint our code to make sure that nothing untoward is happening, nothing undesirable has snuck in. This is a similar idea, but it happens before cargo publish, or possibly even when you open a pull request. Cargo-semver-checks can be used to flag possible unintentional breakage and say, hey, just making sure, did you mean to do this? And if you did, maybe publish a major version so that that doesn't automatically get picked up by cargo update, and instead maintainers have to go into it knowing that they might need to make some small adjustments to how they use APIs. So the idea is just make the version numbers actually match the contents of the packages that they are assigned to.
Okay, so you've been working on this for a few years and you did a year-end blog post and you said that the number of lints is probably not the best metric to optimize for. Can you dig into that a little bit? Why is that?
That's right. So initially we had very few lints. We started with just 8, I think, in the first release. Then we moved to 10. Then before you knew it, it was 100. So the project has been growing at a literally exponential pace. We've been doubling the number of lints every year. But as a result, that means that we are currently increasingly chasing numbers, and I don't like metrics that are just pure numbers because it's very easy to turn them into a vanity metric. Increasingly, instead, as I talk to people in the hallways, here at RustWeek, people are like, oh, cargo-semver-checks didn't catch this, cargo-semver-checks didn't catch that. And generally speaking, those are the kinds of lints that we know about, but we haven't been able to express thus far. They're generally things that related to types or adding bounds or similarly common but kind of gnarly problems in the Rust language that are very difficult for cargo-semver-checks to catch right now. And so at the end of the year, I announced that we will no longer be actively pursuing as a goal of cargo-semver-checks the goal of just doubling the lints. We added 122 lints last year. That put us at 242, I think, for the year total. If we added another 240 lints and we still didn't address the most commonly requested features out of cargo-semver-checks, I feel like that would be kind of irresponsible as a maintainer of the project. And so instead of just chasing, number of lints go up, what I wanted to do is refocus on solving the foundational problems that we haven't had a chance to really tackle for a while. So I'm sort of taking a step back from just enabling lints directly and instead trying to build some foundational infrastructure so that we can write this vast new category of lints around making type-related changes. So the most common complaints that people have about cargo-semver-checks is that if you have a function and it took a number and in the next version it takes a string, that's very clearly a breaking change. Cargo-semver-checks today does not catch that, and that's surprising. So that's the thing that I would like to fix. This is not something that's going to be easy. It's going to take many, many months of work. But I think it's going to make the cargo-semver-checks project better off, and as a result, I think it will make the entire Rust community better off.
So one of the things I love about going to conferences is when you randomly bump into people in the hallway. And I randomly bumped into you yesterday and you were like so excited and you said you had some total unhinged news to share, some like these ideas that you couldn't wait to get out there. And I'm so happy that we have this camera in front of us so that you can share your unhinged ideas with the world. So what are they?
Yes. So the way that we're going to build these type checking lints is going to be quite strange, but I think it's strange in a good way. And one of those ways where once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's definitely the correct thing to do. So I would like to convince you and everybody watching this that I'm not, I'm still in touch with how things work and that this is not just some crazy idea that will never pan out. So hear me out. What I don't want to do in cargo-semver-checks is just reinvent half of RustSeek. We don't want to build all of the compiler infrastructure from scratch. We don't want a new type checker and a new borrow checker and a new trait solver. I mean, there are many smarter people than me who have been working on these things for many years. I'm not going to manage to re-implement their work in a couple of months. So instead, the approach that we're going to take is we're going to generate witness programs that we're going to hand off to the Rust compiler and ask it to compile this program and see if it's broken or not. And we're going to do this in such a way where we can guarantee that the outcome that the Rust compiler gives us is accurate. That if it says something is broken, it is definitely a breaking change. If it says that it's not broken, then we have full confidence that the API has not been broken, that there's no semantic versioning violation. So an example of this would be if you have a function, it used to take an integer, now it takes a string. What we're going to do to prove this breakage is we're going to wrap that function in another function that also takes an integer and just call the original. When the original function changes to a string, this program will fail to compile. And that way, when a cargo-semver-checks user runs this code, runs this lint, they will get a message from the Rust compiler saying, by the way, this code is broken. And that way, you don't have to open an issue in the cargo-semver-checks repo if you disagree with the assessment that something is broken. You can just tell the Rust compiler team. Now, this is already a little bit strange, right? We're generating Rust programs dynamically. All of a sudden, there's like other things being compiled just to check your API. It's already a little bit unusual. But we're going to take this one step further. There's one particular case where we can't easily generate this kind of code to prove whether there is breakage or not. And that is when you have a trait that can be implemented in a downstream crate, and the breakage is related to actually implementing that trait. Implementations are very difficult to generate. I mean, if you've tried to implement a complicated trait, you know what I'm talking about. The issue here is that we still need to somehow prove the breakage. And there's a particular case where we will actually generate code that is backwards from what I just described. So instead of saying, hey, this code used to work in the past, and it's broken now, therefore there's breakage, there's a particular case where in order to avoid generating a trait implementation, we're going to do this completely the opposite way. We're going to say, this code in the past was broken, and it currently works. And that means that trait implementations are broken. Now, this is very, very unusual. It's not common that you say, you fixed something, you made a program compile, and it shouldn't have. And that is an indication that you violated the semantic versioning contract. That is very unusual. But this is something that I think is the right way to go about it. And I don't know, when cargo-semver-checks launches, this will definitely be a feature of the launch post. I will explain it in far more detail than we can do in the few minutes that we have here. And I look forward to everyone letting me know just how unhinged this idea is.
I feel like I'm the emoji with the head blowing up right now. And if anybody at home could feel the energy coming off right now, you would be like, yes, this is so unhinged. It's going to work, because I don't think like that code could stand in your way, for sure.
I've been getting that reaction all week at RustWeek. So yes.
I'm good that I'm with a good group here. So at the end of the day, what does this mean for users of Rust?
For users of Rust, what you have to look forward to is a more stable ecosystem. Nobody wins when unintentional semantic versioning breakage makes it out there into the wild. It's frustrating to maintainers because they get flooded with a bunch of issues from users saying, hey, you broke my project. Those users are also really frustrated because they didn't sign up to fix things, and now they're on the hook for fixing things. And overall, having this kind of breakage just kind of breaks down the bond of trust and makes all of us less safe and have worse code because we're just taught to not upgrade our dependencies. So that's bad for the entire ecosystem. Having cargo-semver-checks that is able to catch more of these kinds of issues, and especially the issues that maintainers tell us that they want the most, I think is going to be spectacularly successful. It's going to make everyone's job easier, and it's going to make everyone happier and better off as a result.
I love this. So while you're here at RustWeek and then we have the all hands, like outside of this, what are you most excited about?
Honestly, the way that cargo-semver-checks is set up as a project, it has so many touch points. It needs to know about what new features are being developed in the Rust language because those might have semantic versioning implications. It needs to work very closely with the RustDoc team, with the cargo team, with, many folks all over the project. And it's really nice to have an opportunity to just grab a quiet corner or grab a whiteboard and just talk through some of these ideas and make sure that, the crazy unhinged ideas that I have at, 11 p.m. on a Saturday night are actually the best way to do things, that there are no unforeseen edge cases, and that honestly everybody is excited about because a cool idea is a cool idea. So I've been loving the energy that's around, and I just love to see everyone and just catch up, see what they're excited about, and see how we can work together to make the Rust ecosystem better off.
I love it. So final thoughts here. If there's someone that's kind of thinking about Rust and isn't sure, or maybe wants to contribute and isn't sure, like what is your advice?
Just get it started. Find some small corner that you're excited about and figure out how you can make a small impact. If semantic versioning or if linters are your thing, you're more than welcome to come to the cargo-semver-checks project. We have a Discord, we have a very active GitHub. There are a bunch of issues that are labeled good first issue. If you're not sure what to work on, please feel free to ping me on social media or on the project Zulip. I'm more than happy to find you something where you can be productive and effective on day one. And I'm definitely not the only person. There are lots of people here who work on very cool things who would be more than happy to have somebody who is eager to learn take something off of their hands and truly make it their own. We all have way more ideas than we have time to implement this stuff. So if you're excited to get involved, please do. We would be more than happy to work with you.
Well, I look forward to RustWeek 2027 so we can see if the unhinged idea came to reality and what that actually means for everyone moving forward. But until then, thank you so much for joining me, and y'all have a good one.
Thank you for having me.